everyone, I am back today and I wanted to talk about something that I like to think of as casual writing. Essentially, all that means is that I just write for the fun of it. I don't write with the intention of publishing whatever I write. I might share it, but I'm not writing it with the intention of having it be a perfect thing or having it make perfect sense or even having any intention of sharing it with the world except as a, hey, look at this fun little thing I did, rather than a, hey, look at this book that I wrote, would you like to buy it? Right? The difference for me in casual writing versus the rest of my writing that I do is casual writing I literally do just for the fun of it. It helps me work on my craft. It allows me to explore different options. It helps me puzzle through different problems and explore different characters without any of the stress or the pressure of just having to publish everything I write. And even if I do end up publishing it, so like this is something that you see if you go to my website and you look through the writing section for readers and all of that stuff, like you'll see little ink blot posts. And the entire purpose behind those was that I would find a writing prompt on the internet, write a response to the prompt, just to have fun. It's a rough draft. I'm putting it up on my website because it's a rough draft and because it's fun and because it doesn't have to be this crazy big thing. And I feel like sometimes it's really easy as an artist to get wrapped into the I'm producing in order to meet a need, or I am producing in order to move toward my goals and my dreams. And this feels really counterintuitive given what I just talked about with my whole ambition thing. But sometimes when you're an artist and when you're making art, you have to make art for the sole purpose of making art. And that's what my casual writing is. It's making art with words for the sole purpose of me enjoying it, of me having fun, of not having to worry about, hey, will this sell well? Because that's not what it's for. This is just for me to have fun. This is just for me to explore different characters in different worlds and different settings and different genres. I've found that I actually really enjoy writing sort of horror-esque things, horror sci-fi combinations. Would I ever write an entire novel that's horror sci-fi? Probably not. But for a little short drabble or flash fiction piece, it's really fun. And it's flexing those muscles of, okay, how do I make this scene for my actual novel that I want to publish? How do I make it creepier? How do I practice using those visceral sensations? How do I write with intention of using as many literary devices as I can just to see if it's worth it, right? I feel like most of the time as a writer, I don't spend a ton of time thinking about, hey, oh, I did alliteration there, or if I put this color here, it's going to tell the reader that they're sad. Like, half of that I do subconsciously, just because of the nature of color symbolism and other stuff like that. So I do it accidentally, and it's in my books. But I don't spend a ton of time focusing on it. And so sometimes it's fun to try to focus on it and see, did I do it well? Is it forced? Is it better if I try to do it? Is it worse if I try to do it? How can I work on my descriptions? How can I practice the things that I know need practice without having it be in my novel necessarily? And so that's why if you follow me on my blog, you will see that occasionally I do post little ink blots along with the short stories that I post and write for my Patreon patrons. Same thing happens there. I post a more or less rough draft for my patrons. Usually I have at least some people look at it if I'm like, hey, I think this needs help. I don't think I'm the right person to edit this. I will have some people look at those, but mostly that's just direct from me to my patrons with a little snippet of why I wrote it, where I got the inspiration from, on and on. And then on my blog, I go through and I make final edits. I clean it up a little bit before I share it with the world. But the inkblot stuff, that's just straight from my brain onto the blog post and pretty much published immediately. I don't recommend doing that. It's not always good writing. But that's the point of casual writing, is that it is not supposed to be necessarily good. It's just supposed to be fun. and I have a lot of fun doing it. So if you are struggling in your craft and if you're feeling the weight of, I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this so that I can get published, take a breath, go write a short 100 to 1,000 word piece based off of a prompt or a tweet or whatever you find on the internet, and see if it helps. See if you can just have some fun, because honestly, if you're not having fun when you're doing this thing that you're supposed to love, what's the point, right? So until next time, I'll see you then. If you're interested in joining me on Patreon and getting that first look and that info, like the background information on the stories that I write and post on my blog and that I've been reading here as well, you can do so. Here's a little snippet about what the different tiers look like, what the different membership levels look like. You can join for as little as $3 a month, and you can get all of that information, like the background information and the short stories, every month early. My Patreon patrons get them about 4 months before the rest of the world. But if you would rather just keep plugging along, you can also get those short stories straight to your inbox. There's a link to subscribe to my mailing list down below, to my MailChimp mailing list. And if none of that seems to float your boat, I would still love for you to subscribe or like here, share this video with your friends, share this little challenge with any writers that you know who have been struggling a little bit, especially with the quarantine. It's really easy to just lose track of why it is that we create art, especially as we're constantly, like right now, the world is so tuned in on artists and art and entertainment because we don't have anything else. There's a lot of pressure on artists and entertainers and creators to keep putting out and keep putting stuff out and keep entertaining. And if you're feeling that pressure, it's okay. Take a step back. Go do something for you. Spend 5 minutes on something for you, just so that you can have had at least 5 minutes in the day that you've done something to help you. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.